I think there's a lot of excitement around, having two players like DiBernardo and Gautrat come to the Current. I do think it waves a lot of question marks around Sam Mewis, though,
Oh,
and
yeah.
what that means in their middle third, especially if they landed somebody like a Gautrat in this scenario, who is positionally kind of similar
Yeah.
tactically to somebody like a Sam Mewis.
And we have no word on Sam Mewis at this point and her injury. Last we heard from U.S. head coach Vlatko Adanovsky about her was that she had a bit of a setback, right? And it was going to maybe take a little bit longer for her to get back to the pitch. So that's, I mean, I think that's something that you can't even take into an account right now because she didn't play at all last year, right? Like even someone like a Lynn Williams, yes, coming back and actually training during the championship weekend with Kansas City. But this is a Kansas City Current side that has an incredible roster that they have continued to keep. Yes, they lost Pickett, they lost Edmonds, but they've still got a lot of good players, right? They've got Mace, Kaiser, Elizabeth Ball, Lola Bonta also in the midfield. So you look at that midfield right now. You've got Morgan Gautrat, Vanessa DiBernardo, and Lola Bonta. Are you kidding me? Like, I want to go watch that team play right now without any training under their belt. Like, that is fantastic to see. And then you look at the free agency list, and we touched on this. Desiree Scott, incredible veteran that has been consistent with Kansas City and really helped lead them as a veteran in the locker room and on the pitch to the NWSL championship. She's a free agent, and there's been no word from her. And I imagine that Matt Potter wants to keep Desiree Scott around. It has been nothing but positive words coming from his mouth about her and obviously what she does on the pitch. She's a Canadian international. She's got so much skill and talent, and she's a destroyer. That's what they call her on this Kansas City side. But then in the locker room, she really brings them all together. She's that positive force and that positive player. So that's a player that Kansas City for sure has to have circled about, hey, you want to keep this player? Where does she fit into it? And if I'm Desiree Scott, I'm looking at these two acquisitions in Gautrat and DiBernardo, and I'm saying like, all right, can I get a little bit more bang for my buck? Can I be a little bit happier at somewhere else? And that is the beauty of free agency. Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
God, these players have free agency.
We've had a lot of fun chatting about this so far, and it's not even over. But I hear you on Scott. I mean, when we went to the championship final to cover things out in DC, I mean, that's all we heard, a great locker room piece. But I don't know. I think I don't know if she returns to Kansas City. I think she's again veteran of this league, probably a player that we might not see throughout the entire regular season because Canadian international, she's probably going to be tied to a lot of friendlies throughout the first half of the regular season, and then everything, if it all works out, off to another World Cup.
Right.
So I think maybe Kansas City still continues to to sort of try to have negotiations with this player, but I don't think you make not just one but a double signing or veteran midfielders and two very good midfielders and expect to keep a Desiree Scott in the mix as well, because another player that we're not talking about for Kansas City is Alex Loera and where she fits into this as well. Loera having a massive rookie season for Kansas City Current. I mean, dark horse for you and me on this show in terms of, a potential rookie of the year candidate, fell just short of that, but ended up going all the way to the championship final with this current squad. And again, if you have the addition of Gautrat and DiBernardo, if you have a question mark around Sam Mewis, and then you've got a very young, promising, good, talented player in Alex Loera, I think you're solid. I think you're solid moving forward.
And like when I look at rosters, this is sneak peek into Lisa's brain. When I look at rosters, I look at them in formational like visualization in my brain. And I know what Matt Potter plays. Like he was shifting between a 3-back and a 4-back, but it was 5 in the midfield. We had wing backs. And you have to look at that when you look at this Kansas City roster, right? You've got Cece Kaiser, Kristen Hamilton up top. Like that's probably not going anywhere. And then you look at this midfield, and between Morgan Gautrat, DiBernardo, the two new acquisitions, Lola Bonta, Haley Mace, I'm going to throw in there, Alex Loera, who's also been pushing up and playing higher on this team. that's pretty stacked. And those are starters, right? Like I'm talking about starters, players that you want to be getting 80 to 90 minutes consistently week in and week out. There is not a lot of room. And I'm not even talking about Sam Ewis. I didn't even list her there. And then Desiree Scott, like I agree with you. I'm not sure if Desiree Scott returns to Kansas City. There's a lot of talent still on this roster. I think defensively, they're going to be okay, right? Despite losing Pickett towards the end of last season, and then Kristen Edmonds. I think Edmonds maybe was a hole that had been opened up when Kristen Edmonds got traded to Gotham for Kansas City. But when you add in a Gautrat and DiBernardo, positionally, it's not a like for like match in those players, but in their leadership and their veteran ability and their attitude in the locker room, yes, that's a like for like match in what you're doing there. And that's one thing about this free agency is every team is either losing a veteran and a key piece to what happens in the mentality side of it, but they're also gaining that when you're getting these free agents. You're not getting rookies. You're not getting like averaging 2 matches a game or 2 matches a season players. Like you're getting players that have put in a lot of hours, a lot of playing time, and that bolsters up a team. I mean, Kansas City, this is a huge trade for them. I think San Diego also on the winning side of some of these free agencies. You look at the San Diego roster, I'm scared. That is a force. That is a force.
Yeah, no. I hear you 100%. I think I'm in 100% agreement with you. And that, of course, these moves absolutely are probably going to impact and change the way a team like the Red Stars are going to try to play next season in 2023. But I think it also changes a little bit of what teams like San Diego or teams like Kansas City are going to play as well. I think they're going to look a little different. I think your midfield is a little bit different when it has somebody like a Desiree Scott in it, the destroyer, versus somebody like a Morgan Gautrat, who is a player that is so cool, calm, and collected on the ball.
A bit more of a playmaker.
The type of patience that Gautrat has on a ball compared to so many other midfield others is completely different. So it's also gonna make Kansas City look and feel different in their midfield as well. I think some of the physicality that we saw from Kansas City last year in that middle third, might it go missing? Sure, but I think they're getting something else much more important in that middle third than just sort of a brawling and sort of being a wrecking ball in the middle third. I think it's going to look a little bit different. I think it's going to be better when you've got attacking players, like a Kaiser, like a Hamilton. I mean, my God, I want to see Elise Bennett receiving some of these through balls from Morgan Gautrat, Vanessa DiBernardo. Like, give it to me.
Chills. It gives me chills. I love that. Shout out to VU in our chat right now saying that I like this shout. Desiree Scott goes to Washington Spirit. This is a team that also needs to bulk up their midfield because they've got a free agent, Tori Huster, on that free agency list. Like I could see that happening. I mean, a lot of team needs midfielder. Heck, Chicago needs them. That could be like Desiree Scott could head up to Chicago. They need players there. I like that shout though. You never know. I mean, the teams that have been quiet, OL Reign has been quiet. Washington Spirit has been quiet. I mean, Chicago's been quiet. They're just saying goodbye to everyone. It's a lot of like farewell posts happening there. But
I wanted to maybe see something from Angel City. This is their second, off season. What are they going to look like? I think they're a team that could have benefited from, bulking up their midfield. I had heard through the rumor mill that Gautrat was a target for Angel City. I think if that's if there's a lot of weight or truth to that, I think that speaks even louder of this move by Kansas City that get the options that were in front of a player like Gautrat, that she chose Kansas City, right? So I think, free agency, we're thrilled for it. It's an exciting time. And there's still a ton, like you said, left on this free agent roster. And I think, if you're a team like the Red Stars, maybe you're trying to take a look and nab some of those players that are remaining, on this free agent list as well.